happy 8 p.m. And today's topic is what is a skill you want to improve? I think this is a conversation that came up for me today because I spoke at a conference, and I would say that for me, I just realized how much I wanted to develop my presentation slash speaking skills. But this led me to start thinking about what are the other skills that I want to develop in my life, from more technical stuff such as speaking to things like playing basketball. So just like mastering certain skills, and it started making me thinking about what are some other skills, more like mindset wise, that I want to develop for myself. For example, let's talk about discipline. So we could talk about self discipline. We could talk about like self awareness. So I think there's a lot of different skills that we could develop. So I'm curious for you. I know we have some people hopping on right now. We're kind of waiting, but I'd love to hear for anyone who's on right now. What are skills that you personally want to develop in your life? It could be more technical skills, or it could be more, you could say, soft skills, like social skills, things like that. And I'd also like to know a little bit why. And I think the next follow-up question, which I will have, is like what's kind of the biggest obstacle, or what's getting in the way of you being able to develop a certain skill that you want to develop. So again, as we're kind of waiting for people to hop on this live stream, I'm going to go ahead and share a little bit about the skills that I want to improve upon, and kind of the why and the obstacles that might be getting in the way for me. So let's start with speaking. I think that's obviously something that I do professionally, but that is like a constant, every single day opportunity to grow myself. And I spoke at a CATA event, and like a student conference today, and just being able to watch a lot of other speakers speak was it was inspiring, and it also made me realize how much more I have to grow. And it's a beautiful thing. It's like this journey of life it's this constant evolution of growing ourselves. So yeah, I noticed a lot of different things. I saw other speakers present. I'm like, ooh, wow! Like I really like how their story flowed, and how everything went really well together. And so when I look at that, I'm like, oh shoot, like that's an opportunity for me, because I realize when I present, sure, there are things I do well, but then there's also things, plenty of areas of improvement for myself. So that's that. In terms of obstacles, what's getting in my way? I want to talk a little bit about maybe some obstacles that are getting in the way, are making it challenging to improve my speaking skills, and then in a way, how does that apply to other areas of my life? Katie, good to see you on. Oh, long time no see. Oh, I'm sad. I gotta message you in a second. Was not able to show up at your at the party. But yeah, I'll message you. I cross my fingers, hope I remember. I'll make a, hold on. There we go. As we speak, I'm pulling up Messenger. Oh, hey, you messaged me. Cool. I will respond to that in just a second. So, um, yeah, I would say I want to go back to the topic. Jeff, thanks. Jeff says, dig that tree. Thank you. Um, so the question for today is, what's the skill that you want to improve upon, and what's the obstacles that might be getting in your way for you to accomplish these certain goals? In terms of speaking, I know that's something that this is what I do. That's like that one craft that I continue to hone all the time. And for me, it seems like it's one of those never-ending opportunities to develop. Like there's always, always, always more and more and more to develop and improve upon when it comes to public speaking. And I would say the biggest obstacle for me right now is, whew, that's a big one. I would say it's like this. It's almost like taking time. There's a few different pieces here. One part of it is it's taking time to just sit down and actually like have the patience to break down and assess each little segment of my presentation. So that means recording myself first of all. I do that sometimes, but it's being being a practitioner, like being a like someone who's constantly practicing the craft of improvement. It's constantly recording myself every single time and breaking down each section, the introduction, the bodies, the conclusion. Looking at my body language, the vocal variety, like being really disciplined in breaking everything down and seeing what can be improved about this. What are areas I don't like about it. So I would say the biggest obstacle is not prioritizing time to do that, because I think there's a lot there in the technical skill of public speaking. So that's that. And I'm going to give a few more other examples. And I think the more we talk about separate examples, we could start breaking down what's the common obstacle or what's getting in our way to developing certain skills that we want. Yeah. Let's see. Jeff says, my Facebook Live skills, for real, still something I get paralyzed on. Let's see. That's it's really interesting. So I'm bucketing public speaking as kind of like a mostly live public speaking, but public speaking could also apply to live streams as well. But at the same time, I do think speaking live and doing Facebook lives are two completely different speaking skill sets in a way. I think there are some transferable skills, but at the end of the day, it's like even for me, when I do Facebook lives, I realize like I've been doing Facebook lives in whatever Richard Quo style that I've been doing it for the longest time, and I realized the only way I could really improve my Facebook live is by, number one, actually doing it. Number two is actually taking time to like whatever it is, rewatch a live stream and see, as an audience member, what am I doing that's engaging? What am I doing that's disengaging or not very interesting, or whatever it is. So it's learning how can I make it better, more engaging. And I would say number three is watching other people's Facebook lives. It's what are things that I really enjoy, and what are the Facebook lives that attract me to watch people's lives. So one person, let's just talk about Facebook Live real quick. One person's Facebook Live that really kind of catches my attention a lot. Out of there's a ton of people who do lives. One of them who does it consistently, Carolyn Rim. Carolyn Rim she is like, I don't know, like her energy is like so energetic every single day. She does a Facebook Live pretty much every single day in the morning, and she has her own community. At least like every single day. Last time I checked, it was at least like 5,000 views every single morning. And what's contagious is her energy. It's her consistency. It's like she's not just energetic a few days a week. She's energetic every single day, and she brings it all the time. So those are just some quick examples. And of course, we don't want to. We want to throw in our own style. Like kind of our own flair, our own personality into it, and I would say be authentic to ourselves as well. So anyway, yeah. So I talked about the skill that I want to develop with public speaking. We already talked about that one. Let's talk about, let's see, other skills. Basketball. I would say basketball is one of them. Basketball is, basketball is more of a hobby. But that's one of those things where like the reason why I like playing basketball and working on that skill is because it feels like there is a unlimited amount of growth in anything that we do. In this case, let's talk about basketball. Like when I play pickup games against other people, for me, it's like knowing how to be observant, knowing how to see where my own team is, knowing where to see where the opponent is as well, and learning how to read my defender, knowing how to read the offender, like the person with the ball, and it's like picking up on these little cues of like, okay, this person thinks I'm gonna reach in this way, so if they keep expecting me to reach in this way, guess what? The next time I'm gonna reach in this way because they're not gonna expect it, which is going to allow me to like steal the ball more often, something like that. So Um, yeah, basketball for me is like it's a nice little mental game. It's also like it's just fun in general. So that's a skill that I want to develop. I would say the obstacle, the challenge that's holding me back from learning how to play basketball a little bit more, I would say, is I would go back to patience and discipline again. It's like that. Uh, if you want to increase your basketball game, you get to really hone in on and focus on certain elements, such as for me, it's let's say shooting, passing, and dribbling. Those are like fundamentals of basketball. So there's other small things. There's other small, really tedious things, such as how do I say this? Such as learning to. I feel like passing the ball is a good example. It's like learning to pass a ball is tedious because it's like there's so many different ways to pass a ball, and like when I'm in a pickup game, it's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna try to thread the needle. It's like I see a small little hole where I could like shoot the ball through, where the opponents will not get the ball, and it'll set my teammate up for a good hoop, a good shot. But for me, it's like if I don't really practice passing the ball and like through that small little window that I have where the defender's not gonna grab the ball, if I practice that in game, which is okay because it's just a pickup game, um, I notice sometimes my passing can be really sloppy. It could be like I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to make it through that little hole, and I just do it anyway. It's part of it. You got to trust yourself, but the other part of it is like I think there's one thing that I don't practice enough is intentional passing. It's like that really staying focused and like, is this a good pass? It's just let's cross our fingers. Let's hope it works. So I would say the obstacle that's getting in the way of improving basketball in a way is the patience to whatever it is, practice dribbling exercises by myself or whatever it is, or with another person. So, but I don't know. It's okay. I kind of do it for fun too. So, but anyway, patience. I'm realizing a theme for that's kind of in a way holding me back from improving whatever skills I want to in my life, whether it's speaking, whether it's playing basketball. Other skills might include things like, let's say, I almost want to say self-awareness. What's another one? Self-awareness slash self-assessment. That's a general like, yeah, self-awareness slash self-assessment. Something like where we could observe ourselves, take a step back outside, observe ourselves, and see how can we improve ourselves. I think that's a great skill that we all, in a way, can benefit from is self-assessment. How do we improve ourselves? And patience, and I forgot what else I said. Patience and kind of like persistence in that, like actually staying focused and putting in the time to work on that craft. So those are some obstacles for me. I'm curious from all of you. What are some what are some skills that you want to improve upon in your own life? And second question is kind of like, what's the biggest obstacle that's getting in your way of improving that skill that you have? Jeff says, "Got to roll, bro. Thanks. Good seeing you. Thank you, you too, and I hope to see you soon." Oh, we got a lot of the mentor crew on right now. I see Jordan Manning. Good to see you on. Yes. What is up? Hey, Armando. Good to see you on, brother. So, yep. Again, I'm going to continue just flowing with this conversation. My goal is not to stay on too late on this conversation, but, I love to get kind of thoughts people dropping in, talking about what is the skill that you want to develop in your life. It could be career related, it could be hobby related, it could be anything. And I almost want to say 3 questions. The first one is the skill you want to improve. My second question is kind of a why, like what excites you about improving the certain skill that you want. And number 3 is the biggest obstacle that's getting in the way. I think these are some good questions to kind of self-reflect upon. Let's see. Armando says, "I almost thought this was a replay." No replay. This is live, at least for now. If you're watching this later, then it's a replay. But no, right now this is literally live at 8:15 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Yeah. Let's see. thinking skills. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and ask a few other questions. Again, main question of the day is what's the skill that you want to improve upon in your life? It could be anything. It could be study skills. It could be work related skills, career related skills. It could be how to save more money. It could be hobby skills. It could be anything. You could play a certain video game you're playing, a certain sport you're playing. It could be anything. Just like curious. Panko, good to see you. So Panko says not procrastinating. Yeah. So not procrastinating. Yeah, that's a great one. What skill you want to improve upon? Not procrastinating. Haha, not procrastinating. What would you say is the biggest obstacle getting in the way of that? Um, and what's your why? Like, what would be possible for you if you were to learn to stop procrastinating? Like, what excites you about, you know, thinking about if if you just all of a sudden stop procrastinating? Like, what would happen for you? So these are some questions I'd be curious to hear about. Armando says, I'm drawing the Terminator at the moment. Not very good at scheduling my time, so I would just skip drawing for some super reason. No procrastinating allowed in the Richard Club. Oh goodness. Um, no procrastinating here. I mean, I myself am working on that too. To be honest, I feel like it's a uh, constant stream of improvement. Yes, 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 yes. So let's see. Good to see you too. Yes, 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 yes. Um. Oh, I lost my question. Let's talk about procrastination for a second. Like, if you want to create a skill around not procrastinating or like being more efficient and productive with your time, I mean, I think that's a great skill. I also too do not want to always procrastinate. It's not a great feeling, and sometimes we just want to, we get some work done. I want to answer this question for myself, and I'd love for you to answer for yourself of the why you want to improve the skill, and what's the biggest obstacle getting in your way. So why I would want to develop the skill of not procrastinating is because I think obviously my goals would get accomplished a lot quicker, and they'd actually get done versus just sitting there. Um, so I think that's pretty straightforward. I would say the biggest obstacle that's getting in the way of me to not break that procrastination is, let's see, biggest obstacle. Biggest obstacle getting in my way to not procrastinate. I would say I almost want to say it's like a lack of clarity. It's like this. Sometimes my mind is just filled with confusion and uh, there's too many options. Like let's say I have I have like a list of tasks that I want to get done for today. Let's say there's like 8 items on a to-do list today, and sometimes I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I should do this. So for me, it's like a lack of, it's like too many options. I give myself too many options. Like, okay, I got a list of 8 things to do today. Which order do I want to do them in? And do I really need to do these today? Are these really important? So it's like I'm asking myself too many questions, and I think really instead of asking myself questions, if I want to stop procrastinating, is just get really clear. Like, what is the goal for today? 8 things. Okay, choose which the 8 things. List them in order, 1 through 8, of the order that I'm going to accomplish them, and don't overthink it. Don't do option number 2 before number 1. Do number 1 and then number 2 and then number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like just do them in order. Don't think about it. So I think so. The obstacle for me would be not being clear would be an obstacle for creating procrastination. So if I want to combat that, if I want to improve procrastination, in my opinion, what I get to do is just be more clear, define what my goal is, get it done. And I think that's pretty much it. Let's see. Pinko says, I think the biggest obstacle is that I always tell myself that it's not due on that day. I know what you mean by that. I kind of Yeah, I kind of have a similar mindset sometimes too, where it's like, okay, I still have time. It's not due yet. So I could relate. Hmm. Sorry, I got something in my nose. Okay, we're good. Mm, yes. So I feel like tomorrow's a great example. Tomorrow is I have a lot of work to do, but tomorrow's more of a flexible day where it's like nothing is essentially due tomorrow. But in a way, I want to train my brain to get things done and not procrastinate. So, um, for myself, what might help me to stop procrastinating for tomorrow and just get work done is, I would say tonight it's create a list of what are my top priorities for tomorrow. Rank them in order, whatever it is, one through we'll go with eight, and I'm gonna actually go. Let's say like one through three. Let's say I only have three. I want to keep it simple. Three top priorities that I get to get done tomorrow. Rank them top three, and just you know, this is number one. This is number two. Number three. Don't focus on number two or number three until you finish number one. So I think that for me will help kind of break that procrastination pattern of mine, and it works for one day. It's now one thing I want to build upon is a sustainable model. So I'm not just doing it once; I'm doing it on a daily basis, and that's something I'm working on. And one of my biggest goals for the month of February, unofficial goals, is to become a master planner. And when I say a master planner, that means uh, become someone that plans their whole day in advance. So that means tonight I'll be planning tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll be planning the next day, and maybe even go as far to planning a week, my whole week in advance. And I think it's a scary thought because it makes me nervous to plan that far ahead sometimes, but I think that will benefit me in many ways. And I'm looking forward to putting myself up to the challenge, whether it works or doesn't work. Like the point is, at least I tried, and I'm working towards becoming a better schedule planner and learning to procrastinate less. So that's kind of what I have in that realm. Okay, Armando, let's see here. Armando says, bad news, my school director isn't allowing me to sell my baked goods to primary school kids who are my audience. Good news, I have now a very good reason to stop wasting a lot of saved money. Oh, interesting. Let's see. Uh, let's see. My school director isn't allowing me to sell my baked goods to primary school kids who are my audience. That's so interesting. I just had a random thought. Am I going to share it? Yes, I'm going to share it. So when I was in high school, and this is something that administration doesn't want students to do, which is sell things. Uh, I'm not saying go do it, but my brother Kevin was a hustler, and I just remember when he was in school, he used to sell things all the time. Like he used to sell candy, he used to sell Pokemon cards, he used to sell Beanie Babies, like everything he can sell. I share this story a decent amount. In middle school, my brother made $2,000 in the seventh grade selling Pokemon cards to his classmates, and that's my brother. Like he's an entrepreneur like that. I remember in high school, he's like, "Hey, we should sell some candy for money." So like, we used to just sell candy bars and stuff like that at high school, even though we weren't supposed to do it. Um, yeah, sorry, just a little interesting thought that was from the past. Fun times, but that's my brother. My brother's not like that kind of person who is who's ambitious like that. For me, I was like nervous. I was just like, I don't know, if we should be doing this. But so I participated a little bit, but not very much. Yeah, so fun little side story. Um, Panko says that actually sounds like a really good idea, Richard, referring to probably around procrastination, setting up schedules, and things like that. Yes. Alrighty. So for anyone who's on right now, um, I feel like now's a good time. I'm not trying to, like, I used to do Facebook lives or like, live streams that were an hour to 2 hours long. And maybe some days I'll do that. But for the most part, if there's Q&As, like let's have Q&A. Let's do questions and stuff like that. But if we got the question of the day and we answered it, let's keep it going and move on. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to start winding down a little bit. I'm going to recap today's conversation, which is what is the skill you want to improve? That is a question that I would love for you to answer. Skill you want to improve, why, and what's the obstacle getting in your way of developing that skill? I think these three questions are going to help you to develop whatever skill that you want to in your life. And this is just a conversation starter point. So that's what we're going to do. Before I wrap up, I am going to just read comments as they come in and answer them. So again, Armando on YouTube asks, other good news, my school director is still allowing me to sell my baking to my high school classmates. Other bad news, I'm having the pressure to not do anything risky with my business. So it is more likely that my school director doesn't allow selling overall. Okay, I see. Yep, sometimes you just gotta deal with school politics and do what you gotta do. That's a vague, generic answer, but hope I know you'll figure it out. Okay, let's get let's start wrapping up on this conversation. Skills you want to improve. I would say the big conclusion here for me is I feel like in general, whatever skills we want to improve in our lives, whether it's improving a work related skill, maybe it's public speaking, maybe it's playing sports, maybe it's playing video games, maybe it's it could be more whatever it is, social skills. It could be more a mindset, like how do we stop procrastinating skills. How do you develop skills in general? I feel like there's a common theme that each one of us are obstacles. An obstacle that shows up in one area will probably show up in other areas of our lives. So I think that's generally how our brain works. I would say a big obstacle for me is just having the patience and being willing to put in the time and the effort to observe, to self-reflect. And so let's say public speaking. If I want to develop my public speaking, for me, I think it's to really take time to hone in, to watch myself speak and think about, okay, break down every little bit and be like, okay, how do I improve my introduction, my conclusion, my body paragraphs, my body language, my my vocal variety, my eye contact, stuff like that. Same thing goes with, I'm going to use a different example, which let's go with basketball. Okay, how do I improve my basketball? Okay, you don't just say, I want to improve my basketball. You got to really break that down. How's my shot doing? Not so great. Okay, what do I need to do to improve my shot? Watch other people, how do they shoot, learn from whatever videos, and practice shooting with proper form. Okay, what else in basketball do I want to improve upon? My dribbling, my passing, my pick and rolls, my like whatever it is. So it's breaking things down, like being patient enough to break things down into smaller chunks and tackle it one at a time. Because I think sometimes we try to eat the elephant in one bite. The phrase is, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And I think we try to eat the elephant as a whole, when this huge project is just way too big for us. So break it down into smaller chunks and be patient, and one little thing at a time is kind of my, thought of the day for myself. And hopefully that might be supportive to you as well. Okay, let's see. Aaliyah says, first of all, Aaliyah, good to see you on. Aaliyah says, hey, how do I improve my concentration? Only 5 months left, and improve my work ethic. Watch Jade Darwangsa. Let's see. Only 5 months left until what? What do you have 5 months left to do? How do you improve your concentration? I think I'm gonna try to answer this as simply as possible. Improving concentration, I would say learning to remove distractions. So like, let's say, think about what distracts you. Is it people? Is it maybe your phone? You get notifications. Is it music? Is it emails? Like, whatever is distracting you, I think it's about simplifying it. It's like, okay, be aware. Be aware. Okay, so you say you have a million distractions. So start noticing what are your biggest distractions. You know, start listing out what are your distractions and start eliminating those distractions one at a time. You can't eliminate everything at the same time. At least I don't think you can. So my thing is like start thinking about what's distracting and start removing those distractions. Is your desk, you know, is your desk messy, and like, is that distracting? Okay. Uh, it goes with priorities too. When you have time, clean up your desk. Are you getting bogged down by notifications? Turn your phone on night mode or removes notifications so you start getting all those notifications. One thing I do is I use my desktop a lot, so I actually installed a newsfeed eradicator for Facebook, which means every single time I go to Facebook.com, I don't see anyone's posts. I yes, there's a part of me that wants to see people's posts, but to be honest, I'm in a way I feel much better off that I'm not, you know, it's not distracting me all the time. So I love that I use Newsfeed Eradicator. I don't really look at my newsfeed anymore. Uh, and then same thing with mobile. Like I don't really look at Instagram. I don't look at Facebook feed anymore. I produce content. You know, I'll make these videos, but uh, that's pretty much it. But for them, you know, once in a while, I do want to know what's going on with my friends. So I do have a Facebook app, which I'll pull up once in a while. You know, a few times a week, just to see, okay, hey, what's going on in people's lives. But sometimes I miss people. I miss what people are doing, and it is what it is. But in a way, that's good because I'm busy living my own life. You know, I don't need to be sucked into everyone else's life. Although I'm very happy for the accomplishments that people have, other distractions. I would say email is still a big distraction for me. You know, like seeing I have my email tabs always open. I know some people who only limit email to they only check emails at certain times a day, like in the morning, in the afternoon, and at night, three times at most, something like that. And then besides that, they don't check email. So it's creating a structure, a system to remove those distractions. So hopefully that's supportive. Alrighty, let's see. 5 months until school is over, graduating this year. Got it. Yep. So I hope, Aaliyah, I hope that was supportive. Let's see. Aaliyah also says Pomodoro doesn't work for me. Any advice? So Pomodoro doesn't work for you. Here, interesting. Interesting. More on my own side. So I have an interesting experience with Pomodoro as well. For those who don't know about the Pomodoro method, it's the brief summary is you break all the tasks that your to-do list down into pomodoros, like, and you work one pomodoro is like a type of tomato, and it refers to the tomato timer, like the kitchen timer that usually goes up to 30 minutes. So 25 minutes is straight work, no distractions. The other and then you do 5 minutes of rest, and then you go back to 25 minutes of work, 5 minutes of rest. It just repeats. So when I first did it, it worked for like a few days, and then I got distracted, and I'm like, okay, this isn't working. 2 years later, you know, I tried it again, and it worked again, and then I got distracted again. I'm still experimenting with Pomodoro timer, and it kind of works. You know, like I do stay focused, but then I also get distracted in a way, or like I don't follow the timer, and I think it takes a little bit of practice to get used to. That's number one. Other techniques on, let's see, on tips on productivity, you know, and staying focused. So again, try out Todoist. It's Todoist.com. It's also an app recommended by some amazing person. And let's see, I would say Todoist. Todoist, it's spelled like to-do list without the L, so Todoist. And that's a really great productivity tool. And you could put everything in order of like your priorities. You could rank them, you know, priority one, priority two, priority three, priority four. And that's a great way to go. Again, some of these things just take a little bit of practice. So you may not get it right away, but with enough practice, it'll get better and better and better. So there's that. In terms of productivity books, I recommend, I'm just going to recommend one book for now. And that one book is called Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. And it's like 20, I think it's a really short read. It's 21 tips on how to be more productive. And I think it's worth the read. It's like I forgot, it's like 80 pages or something like that. It's not, and the font isn't that. It's not that much text, so easy read. Yeah, that's what I have. Alrighty, Armando, I'm gonna get to your question in just a second. I just want to make sure that's we have this in order. Aaliyah says, "I use Todoist. That's awesome. Have a one. Ooh, you have a 1 year subscription. Wow. I think it's the disconnect with the material. Like I'm interested in entrepreneurship, but I am studying science because life. Huh. Interesting. So, how do you do that? I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Like every single day, I do my best to um, be productive and stay on top of things. It's not always perfect for myself. I know other people who are far more, disciplined with staying on top of things. So, but I think for both of us, for any of us who struggle with staying on top of things, it's like we got to stay focused and don't be discouraged that we're not as productive as other of our peers maybe. It's okay. It's a process. We just have to keep going, pushing ourselves, and keep learning to be more efficient, to procrastinate less, and everything like that. And eventually, we will get better. And for myself, I always have seen myself as a procrastinator, as someone who is not very disciplined in getting things done, and following to-do lists. Like I always break my own rules. I don't get things done. I'm productive, stuff like that. And I realize it's a long process. It's tedious, but over time, over the past, I would say, I'm just going to arbitrarily say the past 2 years, I've pushed myself a little bit more, and I realize that my habits are getting better, and all of that stems from just putting in the effort to actually improve myself. So, not perfect, but it's much better. Don, thank you for hopping on. Thanks for the comment. Don on Facebook said, "Hey Richard, nice haircut." Thank you, appreciate that. Okay, let's see, Armando. Let's get to your question real quick. Armando says, "Hey Richard, I had this random question I want to ask. Since you played a lot of video games, have you ever got to experience addicting tendencies of microtransactions and loot boxes that many face? Um, let's see. Have you ever experienced any micro addiction around microtransactions?" That's a really interesting question. I like that. Let me see here. Okay, and then I found it interesting how people get their lives ruined wasting money on microtransactions, mostly on free to play games, while I don't really get use playing them. Okay, so this is a really interesting question. Let's talk about this. Um, it's it's fascinating. Okay, so if you've been following my channel or if you've seen some videos in the past, you might know that a game of mine that I used to play a lot for like the past 5 years is League of Legends. It's a free game to play, and I don't really play it right now, and I try to stay away from it because I know that love the game. I respect the company Riot Games a lot. I think they do a fantastic job with everything they do with the game, from the gameplay to the community to esports, like everything. It's amazing. Like I'm so impressed and inspired by the way they do things. They it's a lot. It's like a culture. It's a subculture. They bring in musicians. They compose music. Like they have their own soundtrack. So it's like so much respect to it. Anyway, so I started playing League of Legends like 5 years ago or something like that. And at first I'm like, why would anyone pay any money to play this free game? And I'm like, it's a free game. Like why would you pay money? Like I don't want skins. Like skins are so skins is like it's like a cosmetic. It changes the appearance of your champion that you play, and it doesn't give you any advantage. It just makes your champion look different or whatever, unique and special. So for a long time when I was playing a ton of League of Legends and stuff like that, for many years, I'm like, yeah, I'm never going to spend money on the games. Like that's silly. And I remember one time, I think what started was like, let's see, it was my friend's birthday. I'm like, hey, we both played this game together. Let me get him like a $5 card just to say happy birthday, whatever. So I got him a card, and nothing really happened. And then like a year later, um, I forgot exactly what happened, but it was like, oh, I remember. It's they accepted gift cards, like Subway gift cards or something like that. And I'm like, oh, I got a gift card. Like, you know what? I've been playing this game long enough. I'm going to just whatever show appreciation by whatever giving like a Subway gift card. And so I did that. And it's interesting. Like I started noticing. I'm like, at first I'm like, okay, that's fine. But then I got another Subway gift card, and then I did it again. And I'm just like, that's silly. That's like real money. They're gift cards or whatever. But anyway, I noticed that I started spending like a little bit more, and I never got like super addicted to it, but I could see the addictive properties, and um, I can see how people get sucked into it, which is really funny because I believe people spend more money on free to play games than they do buying a regular game. It's like free to play games, like the way it's structured. It's like I know people who play League of Legends. Some people spend, I think a lot of people spend at least $500 on a free to play game. It doesn't do anything. Uh, some people spend thousands of dollars on just buying skins and things like that because it's like it becomes like a little addiction of some sort. So yeah, that's my little side story of that. For anyone who doesn't know about free to play and microtransactions, things like that, that's my own little story. And thank you for sharing that. That was a interesting part of my own past life to dig up. So yeah, yes. Okay. What is microtransaction? So yeah, microtransaction. Yep. So microtransactions. I don't know the full definition of it. I'm sure Armando said it's stuff that you buy in game. To me, when I hear microtransactions, it's like, yes, it is stuff that you buy in a game, and it's to me, it's more like this. It's like easy to buy things. It's like this. Well, when I think micro, I think small. So it's like this. Yeah, it's like, hey, there's so League of Legends does a lot of sales. Like every single week they have a sale on like skins and stuff like that. Um, so it's like, yeah, to me it's like easy to buy things, like readily available, in-game purchases, stuff like that. All right, thanks for the side conversations. I like these one-offs once in a while. Yeah, no, $500 is like I feel like that's a very normal thing for. It's almost like I feel like the average League of Legends player. Uh, I'm curious. I'm curious to know what the average is that each League of Legends player plays. That includes everyone and the millions of people who play the game for free. I'm pretty sure. I'm so curious. I don't know the exact number, but I'm pretty sure the average that if you average every single active monthly user who plays League of Legends, my guess, this is gonna be so off, but my guess of like how much each player pays for a completely free game, I'm gonna go with something. Something tells me like it's gonna be like, oh goodness, I'm just gonna say like $75. Like, that's my guess. I'd love to know if you have any thoughts on that. So my guess is the average someone each player spends is $75 in their whatever in the lifetime of their account. This includes all free free paying accounts, like people who choose to never ever spend a dime, and that balance with people who spend thousands of dollars. I think that might be a little bit high. I have no idea, but I think a lot of people pay for free to play games. Yeah. So Saifu says I avoid free to play multiplayer games, but it's also hard to play single player games considering how long it takes to actually finish the games these days. So much wasted time. Um, Games, man, games are a whole new world. Um, let's see. When it comes to games, I just think like, you know, games is what you make of it. For some people, games is a waste of time. For other people, games is life. Games is like it's their way that they just enjoy their life. And I think what's most important when it comes to playing video games or doing any kind of hobbies, activities is balance. It's recognizing when when are you hitting that point where you're you're playing this doing this hobby that's in a more destructive way to the person that you are, and it's not contributing to the lifestyle that you want anymore. So that's the main thing. Okay, let's see. Armando says, if you're curious, Richard, AAA game developers started putting microtransactions on full price games so they could win more money than usual. But since EA's Battlefront 2 happened, people are getting more cautious with what they support with their money. It's a whole new world. Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. Thanks for the conversation. Really interesting. Okay, so at this point, I'm gonna actually hop off now. I appreciate the conversations lots, but I also want to get going with the work and stuff I get to do. I just want to wish everyone, first of all, say thank you so much for hopping on, and wish everyone a beautiful, wonderful evening. I will be on tomorrow, same time as usual, which is 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then, let's see. So tomorrow I'll be on. The day after that, I don't think I'll be on because I will be at a dinner. But anyway, dinner? Yeah. I got plans. And I think the day after that, I might have some plans too. But yeah, anyway, thanks for hopping on, and I'll see y'all around. Take care. If you got questions, feel free to email me about anything. And yes, MChat, good to see you on. Have a great night to everyone, Penko and Armando and anyone else who is on, okay? Take care. Good night. Bye.